Captain Jack Miller stood on the bridge of the Earth Alliance starship Resilience, his eyes fixed on the vast sea of stars that stretched before him. The ship hummed quietly around him, a perfect machine built by the toughest species in the known galaxy, though humans didn't know that yet. Jack enjoyed these rare quiet moments. Space was mostly empty and peaceful until it wasn't. Captain, you should see this. The voice belonged to Lisa Green, the ship's communications officer. Her fingers moved quickly over her console, her brow furrowed in concentration. "What is it, Officer Green?" Jack asked, walking over to her station. "A signal, sir, not one of ours, not like anything in our databases." Jack's heart beat faster. The Resilience was humanity's most advanced ship, sent to explore the outer reaches of the Orion Arm. Humans had been sending messages to the stars for centuries, hopping for an answer. They had built faster-than-light engines just 20 years ago, but until now, no one had found proof of other intelligent life. "Put it on speakers," he ordered, his voice steady despite the excitement building in his chest. The bridge filled with strange sounds, clicks and whistles in a pattern that was clearly not random noise. The sounds repeated every 42 seconds exactly. "The ship's computer says it's a mathematical sequence," Lisa explained. "Prime numbers, then what looks like a simple counting system, then something more complex." Tom White, the science officer, joined them at the console. "Can we translate it?" Jack asked. "Not fully, but the pattern is clear. It's an SOS, a call for help. Whoever made this wanted to be sure any intelligent species could understand they're in trouble." "Location?" Jack asked. "Epsilon Aerodani system," Lisa replied. "About 3 days away at full speed." The bridge grew quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. First contact with alien life would happen not through careful diplomacy, but through an emergency rescue. Anna Reed, the ship's security chief, moved to Jack's side. She was always direct. "Could be a trap, sir." Jack nodded. This had occurred to him too. "Explain." "If I wanted to lure an unknown ship, I'd send a distress call. Universal language appeals to the helper instinct." Anna crossed her arms. "We should report to Earth Command first, get instructions." "And how long would that take?" Jack asked, though he knew the answer. "At least 2 weeks for a message to reach Earth and a response to return to us." Jack walked to the center of the bridge, feeling the eyes of his crew on him. This was why he was captain, to make the hard calls. He turned to face them. "Whoever sent that signal might not have 2 weeks," he said. "They might not have 3 days, but that's how long it will take us to reach them, so we better start now." "Sir," Anna protested, "regulations clearly state." Jack held up his hand. "I know the regulations, Chief Reed. I also know why we're out here, to explore, to discover, to make contact." He looked around at his crew, "and to help when help is needed." "We don't know what we're flying into," Anna argued, though her voice had softened. "No, we don't," Jack agreed. "That's why we'll approach with caution, shields up, weapons ready but not targeting unless threatened." He turned to Tom. "Set course for Epsilon Aerodani, maximum speed." "Yes, sir," Tom replied, already inputting commands. The Resilience hummed louder as its engines powered up. The stars on the view screen shifted as the massive ship changed course. Dr. Ben White, the ship's medical officer, entered the bridge. "I heard we picked up a signal." "Alien distress call," Jack confirmed. "We're responding." Ben's eyes widened. "I'll prepare medical. We might need to treat injuries unlike anything we've seen before." "Good thinking," Jack said. "Work with Tom, see if the signal gives any clues about their biology." As Ben and Tom huddled over the science station, Jack returned to his command chair. The weight of his decision pressed on him. Earth had always wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, but would this first contact be peaceful, or would it lead to something darker? "Captain," Anna said quietly, standing beside his chair. "I still think this is risky, but," she hesitated, "if they really need help, I'm glad we're the ones answering the call." Jack nodded. "That's why Earth built this ship, Anna, not just to look but to reach out." He gave her a small smile. "Have your security teams ready, but let's hope we make friends, not enemies." "Always prepared for both, sir," she replied, returning to her station. The next 3 days passed in a blur of preparation. The crew trained for every possible first contact scenario, from medical emergencies to defensive maneuvers. Scientists studied the signal, extracting every bit of information they could. Engineers checked and rechecked the ship's systems. Jack barely slept. When he did, his dreams were filled with strange creatures and unknown worlds. Humanity had always looked to the stars and wondered. Now he would be the first human to meet whatever waited out there. On the third day, the Resilience approached the edge of the Epsilon Eridani system. Dropping out of FTL in 321, Tom announced. The viewscreen showed a yellow star similar to Earth's sun, with planets orbiting around it. The signal was coming from near the fourth planet, a blue-green world that looked eerily like Earth. There, Lisa said, pointing to a spot on the screen, something in orbit around that planet. Tom zoomed in. A ship appeared, unlike any human vessel. It looked like crystal globes connected by metal tubes. One of the globes had a large crack in it with debris floating around it. "Life signs?" Jack asked. "Yes," Tom replied, his voice filled with wonder. "Different from human patterns, but definitely alive. I count about 30 individuals." "Any other ships in the system?" "None that we can detect," Lisa said, "but there's damage to that vessel that looks like weapons fire." Jack stood, straightening his uniform. "Send a message, all frequencies. Basic mathematical response to show we understood their distress call. Let them know we're here to help." "Sending now," Lisa confirmed. Minutes passed, the bridge crew held their breaths. "Captain," Lisa finally said, "they're responding." Through speakers came to life again, but this time the alien sounds were followed by a series of tones that matched the Resilience's message pattern. "They understood us," Tom said, his voice barely above a whisper. The alien ship slowly turned, orienting itself toward the Resilience. A new message came through, longer and more complex. "They're sending visual data," Lisa reported, putting it on screen. The viewscreen flickered, then showed the interior of the alien vessel. Creatures moved about, six-limbed beings with shimmering skin that reflected light like insect shells. One approached what must have been their camera, its large compound eyes seeming to stare directly at the humans. "This is it," Jack said quietly, "first contact." The alien made a series of gestures, then spoke in its clicking language. To everyone's surprise, mathematical symbols appeared beneath it, followed by simple pictures. "They're trying to establish basic communication," Tom explained, "using math and images as a universal language." The alien pointed to its ship, then made a motion like something breaking. It pointed to the stars, then made a slashing motion. "I think," Anna said slowly, "they're saying something attacked them." The alien then pointed to the Resilience on what must have been their view screen and made a different gesture. Its limbs spread wide. "And I think that means they're asking for our help," Jack said. He stepped forward, directly facing the camera that was sending their image to the alien ship. He pointed to the Resilience, then to their alien counterparts, and nodded, making a joining motion with his hands. The alien's body language changed. Its limbs moved in what seemed like excitement or relief. "Prepare a boarding team," Jack ordered. "Medical, engineering, security, and communications. We're going to help them repair their ship." As the crew rushed to prepare, Jack remained watching the alien on the screen. Humanity had just made first contact, answering a call for help from the stars. What they didn't know was that this act of kindness would soon draw them into a conflict that would change the galaxy forever. On the edge of the alien ship's view screen, barely visible, was the shadow of another vessel, angular and black as space itself. It lingered just long enough to see the human ship arrive, then vanished into the darkness between stars, carrying news of the Deathworlders who had come. Jack Miller stood in the Resilience's airlock, checking his team's equipment one last time. 6 crew members would join him on the alien ship: Dr. Ben White for medical support, Chief Engineer Mike Ross, Security Officer Anna Reed with 2 of her team, and Communications Officer Lisa Green. All wore lightweight spacesuits with clear helmets, a sign of trust but also caution. "Remember," Jack said, his voice calm but serious, "we are the first humans these beings have ever seen. Every move we make represents Earth." Anna checked her stunner, a non-lethal weapon that could disable without causing harm. "We come in peace but stay alert. We still don't know what happened to their ship." The airlock cycle began, and Jack felt the familiar pressure change in his ears. Through the small window, he could see the alien vessel up close. Its crystal-like sections gleamed with an inner light, except for the damaged area which was dark and cracked. "Docking complete," came Tom's voice through their comms. "Good luck, Captain." The outer door slid open, revealing a short tunnel connecting the 2 ships. At the far end stood three of the alien beings they had seen on the view screen, six-limbed with bodies that reflected light in rainbow patterns. They waited with what seemed like nervous movements. "Here we go," Jack said, stepping forward. "Follow my lead." The human team moved through the tunnel. Jack noticed the gravity was lighter than Earth's, perhaps 0.7 g, making each step feel bouncy. When they reached the aliens, Jack stopped at a respectful distance. He raised his hand in a simple greeting, palm open to show he held no weapon. The middle alien stepped forward. Up close, Jack could see it was about his height, though much thinner. Its exoskeleton shimmered with blues and greens. Where a human would have a mouth, it had small moving parts that reminded Jack of insect mandibles. Its large compound eyes reflected the human's images back at them. The alien raised two of its upper limbs, mimicking Jack's gesture. Then it produced a small device and held it toward the humans. The device lit up and projected holographic symbols into the air between them. Lisa moved forward, studying the symbols. "Mathematical equations," she said, "and some simple pictograms. I think they're establishing a basic communication system." For 20 minutes, Lisa worked with the alien, building a primitive translation program. The humans learned that these beings called themselves the Trill, and their ship was a science vessel. Finally, the alien device produced sounds in a halting, mechanical voice. "We thank humans for answering our call." Jack felt a chill run down his spine, the first words between two intelligent species. "We are glad to help," he replied clearly, allowing the device to record his speech patterns. "What happened to your ship?" The translation took a moment. The lead Trill, who introduced itself as Skywatcher, made a series of clicking sounds that the device translated. "We were attacked by the Void Collective. They hunt any who travel between stars." Ben stepped forward, medical scanner in hand. "Are any of your people injured?" Skywatcher's body trembled slightly. The device translated, 10 dead, 8 injured. "Can your medicine help species not like yours?" "I'd like to try," Ben said, "with your permission." As Ben was led away to tend to the injured Trill, Mike examined the ship's damaged sections. The crystal spheres, he learned, were both living quarters and power generators, using the light of stars to create energy. One had been severely damaged by what appeared to be some kind of energy weapon. "We might be able to help repair this," Mike told Jack. "Their technology is different but follows principles we understand." While the teams worked, Jack and Anna followed Skywatcher to the Trill ship's command center. Holographic displays showed star systems unfamiliar to human eyes. "How many worlds do the Trill have?" Jack asked. 3 home planets, 12 colonies," Skywatcher replied, the translation becoming smoother as the device learned. "We are peaceful explorers. We search for knowledge, not conquest." "And these attackers, the Void Collective, what do they want?" Anna asked. Skywatcher's body darkened, a sign they later learned meant distress or fear. "They believe only they deserve the stars. All others must prove worthiness or be eliminated. We discovered one of their outposts by accident. They have hunted us since." Jack frowned. "How many ships do they have?" "Many. They are powerful. Their ships are black like space itself. They have destroyed 4 of our worlds already." Anna and Jack exchanged worried glances. This was more serious than they had thought. "You should leave," Skywatcher continued. "When they find you helped us, they will mark humans for elimination too." Jack stood straighter. "We don't abandon those who need help. How long until they might arrive?" "Days, perhaps less. Our distress call may have attracted them." "Then we better work quickly," Jack said. "How can we help repair your ship?" Over the next hours, human and Trill worked side by side. The human engineers were surprised to find they could lift materials the Trill struggled with. When Mike accidentally cut his hand on a sharp piece of metal, the Trill watched in amazement as he simply bandaged it and continued working. "Your body repairs itself quickly," Skywatcher observed, "and you are very strong." "Just normal humans," Mike shrugged. "Nothing special about us." One of the Trill scientists approached Skywatcher and spoke rapidly in their clicking language. Skywatcher's body brightened with blue colors. "What is it?" Jack asked. "My science officer is surprised," Skywatcher explained. "Your world must be very harsh, high gravity, high oxygen, extreme temperatures. On our world, such conditions would kill us." "Earth harsh," Jack smiled. "We just call it home." "There is a term in galactic records," Skywatcher said, "for species that evolve on such difficult planets, Deathworlders. Species who survive where most would die." Anna laughed. "Well, I guess that's us, Deathworlders." Later in the Trill medical bay, the humans discovered more differences. The Trill doctors watched in shock as Ben worked tirelessly for hours without rest. When offered food, the humans consumed plants and animal proteins that would have been toxic to Trill biology. "Your species is remarkable," a Trill doctor told Ben. "You breathe oxygen levels that would burn our tissues. Your bones would not break on our worlds." Ben smiled, "And yet we're not so different. We both explore, we both value life." Back on the Resilience, Jack held a meeting with his officers to discuss what they had learned. "The repairs to their ship are going well," Mike reported. "Should be complete in about 12 hours. The injured Trill are recovering," Ben added. "Their biology is fascinating, silicon-based rather than carbon. They metabolize metals we consider toxic." "What about these Void Collective beings?" Jack asked. Anna's face was grim. "From what the Trill have told us, they're systematic and ruthless. They believe most species don't deserve space travel. They test new species and almost all fail. Those that do are hunted to extinction." "And now they might come after us," Lisa said quietly. Jack nodded. "We need to be ready. The Trill say the collective could arrive any time. We should." He was interrupted by an urgent call from Tom on the bridge. "Captain, we're detecting multiple FTL signatures entering the system. 7 ships, unknown configuration." Skywatcher, who had been listening, made a sound the translator didn't catch. But the meaning was clear from the way its body turned almost black with fear. "The Void Collective has found us," it said. Jack stood, then they're about to meet their first Deathworlders. As he hurried back to the bridge, Jack knew that humanity's first contact was about to become humanity's first interstellar conflict. The Resilience had answered a call for help. Now they would have to fight, not just for their new allies but potentially for Earth itself. The Void Collective ships emerged from FTL travel, their black angular forms like shadows against the stars. They moved with purpose, surrounding the damaged Trill vessel and the human ship beside it. They had come to finish what they started. They did not expect what waited for them. Jack Miller ran onto the bridge of the Resilience, his heart pounding. The viewscreen showed 7 black ships surrounding them. Each ship looked like a series of sharp angles and flat surfaces that seemed to swallow light rather than reflect it. "Status report," Jack ordered, sliding into his command chair. 7 Void Collective vessels," Tom replied from the navigation station. "They've positioned themselves to block all escape routes. The largest ship is directly ahead." Lisa looked up from her console. "They're hailing us, Captain." Jack straightened his uniform. First contact with one alien species in a day was historic. 2 was unprecedented. "On screen," he said firmly. The viewscreen flickered and the bridge crew fell silent. The being that appeared looked nothing like the insect-like Trill. It had pale, almost transparent skin stretched tight over a skull twice the length of a human's. Its eyes were completely black with no visible pupils or whites. When it moved, the movement was too smooth, like a snake rather than a person. "I am Exterminator First Class of the Void Collective," the alien said in perfect English, its voice like metal grinding on stone. "Your language was simple to extract from your communications." Jack stood. "I'm Captain Jack Miller of the Earth Alliance vessel Resilience. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration." The exterminator's expression didn't change. "You assist the unworthy Trill. This marks you for judgment." "We responded to a distress call," Jack replied, "as any civilized species would." Civilization, the alien spoke the word like it tasted bad, a concept used by the weak to restrain the strong. "The galaxy has rules, human. The Trill have been judged and found wanting. Their remnants must be eliminated." Anna moved to stand beside Jack. "On what authority do you judge other species?" The alien's head tilted slightly. "We need no authority beyond strength. For 1,000,000 years we have tested rising species. Most fail. The weak do not deserve the stars." Lisa whispered to Jack, "Their translator is taking our words directly from our computer. They've hacked our systems." Jack nodded slightly, then addressed the alien again. "We don't recognize your right to judge anyone. The Trill are under our protection now." The exterminator studied them for a moment. "Earth, oxygen, nitrogen atmosphere, high gravity, class 5 death world, primitive technology. Your species is no threat to the collective." Its black eyes narrowed. "Surrender the Trill and we may delay your own assessment." "Not going to happen," Jack said firmly. "Then you have made your choice." The screen went black. They've locked weapons on the Trill ship, Tom reported urgently. Energy buildup detected. Jack's decision was instant. Position us between them and the Trill, shields at maximum, arm all weapons. The crew moved quickly, fingers flying over controls. The Resilience surged forward, its engines pushing it into a protective position in front of the damaged Trill vessel. Shields at 100%, Mike reported from engineering. Weapons hot. The first blast from the Void Collective struck seconds later. The Resilience shuddered, the lights flickering briefly. Shield status, Jack demanded. Holding at 92%, Anna reported, sounding surprised. Their weapons are powerful, but our shields were designed to withstand micrometeorite impacts at near light speeds. They're more effective than we expected. Jack allowed himself a small smile. Return fire, target their weapon systems only. The Resilience fired its main weapons, rail guns that accelerated small projectiles to incredible speeds. On the view screen, they watched as the human weapons struck the lead collective ship. To everyone's surprise, the projectiles punched straight through the enemy's shields. Direct hit, Anna called out. Their forward weapons array is damaged. A second collective ship moved to fire, but Tom had already adjusted their position. Another railgun barrage disabled its main engine. They're pausing their attack, Lisa reported. I think we surprised them. Skywatcher had entered the bridge, its body glowing bright blue with excitement. Impossible, the translator device said. The collective shields have never failed so quickly. Hell, different technologies, Mike explained. They expected energy weapons, but our rail guns are physical projectiles moving at extreme speeds. Their shields weren't designed to stop that. 3 more collective ships fired in unison. This time, the Resilience rocked violently. Shields at 63%, Anna reported. We can't take too many of those combined hits. Jack leaned forward in his chair. Change tactics, target their engines. If we can't destroy them, we'll at least make sure they can't follow us. The battle continued for 20 minutes. The Resilience circled the Trill ship protectively, taking hits but giving back twice as hard. 2 collective ships were now drifting, their engines destroyed by precise human weapons fire. Captain, Mike called from engineering, shield generators are overheating. We need to back off. Before Jack could respond, the collective ships suddenly pulled away, regrouping at a distance. They're withdrawing, Anna asked, confusion clear in her voice. Not retreating, Skywatcher said, its body now a worried purple color. Planning, they've never faced resistance like this. They're reassessing. Jack turned to his crew. This is our chance. Mike, how are the Trill repairs coming? Almost complete, Mike replied. Another hour, maybe less. We may not have an hour, Jack said grimly. Lisa, open a channel to the lead collective ship. The exterminator appeared on screen again, its black eyes showing no emotion. Your weapons are effective, Deathworlder, it said. Few species surprise the collective. We don't want to fight, Jack said. Let us and the Trill leave this system peacefully. Impossible, the judgment has been made. However, the alien paused, your resistance warrants study. We will allow you 1 hour to prepare for your deaths. Use it wisely. The screen went dark again. They're stalling, Anna said, calling for reinforcements. Jack nodded, then we need to be gone before they arrive. Skywatcher, we need to finish your ship's repairs now. The next 40 minutes were a blur of activity. Human engineers worked alongside Trill technicians, racing to fix the damaged crystal drive. Meanwhile, the Resilience transferred some of its weapons technology to the Trill ship, giving them a fighting chance if the collective pursued. Tom monitored the space around them. Captain, I'm detecting new FTL signatures at the edge of the system, more collective ships, at least 15. Jack looked at Skywatcher. Is your ship ready? Yes, we can fly, but there are too many collective ships to fight. Jack's mind raced. They were outnumbered and soon would be outgunned. Standard tactics wouldn't work. They needed something the collective wouldn't expect. I have a plan, he said finally, but it's risky. He called his senior officers together, speaking quickly as he outlined his idea. Their eyes widened. That's insane, Anna whispered. It might work, but we'll lose the Resilience, Mike finished. Better than losing our lives and condemning Earth to the collective's attention, Jack replied. Get it done. As the officers hurried to their tasks, Skywatcher approached Jack. What are you planning, Captain? Jack's face was grim but determined. Something the collective won't expect, Deathworlders don't give up easily. Outside, the 15 new collective ships arrived, joining the original 7. 22 black vessels now surrounded the human and Trill ships like wolves circling prey. They're moving into attack formation, Tom reported. Jack took a deep breath. Begin evacuation procedures. Transfer all non-essential personnel to the Trill vessel. And you, Captain? Lisa asked, already knowing the answer. Someone needs to make sure our distraction works. He looked around at his bridge crew. I need 5 volunteers to stay behind. The rest of you will go with the Trill. Every hand on the bridge raised without hesitation. Jack felt a swell of pride. Thank you, but most of you need to survive to warn Earth. He quickly selected his skeleton crew, Tom for navigation, Anna for weapons, and 3 engineers. As the rest of the crew reluctantly prepared to transfer to the Trill ship, Jack opened the shipwide communication system. This is the captain speaking. Today we answered a call for help and discovered we're not alone in the universe. We also learned that not all who sail the stars are friendly. The Resilience was built to explore, but today she'll do something equally important. She'll stand against those who would judge who deserves to travel among the stars. He paused, looking out at the gathering enemy fleets. Most of you will continue our mission aboard the Trill vessel. A few of us will stay behind to ensure your escape. Remember what we learned today. Humans may be newcomers to space, but we are Deathworlders, and Deathworlders never go down without a fight. The Void collective ships began to close in, weapons charging. They expected an easy victory against the outnumbered aliens. They were about to learn a painful lesson about underestimating humans. The bridge of the Resilience was quieter now. Most of the crew had transferred to the Trill ship, leaving only Jack and his 5 volunteers. Through the view screen, they watched as 22 Black Void collective ships moved closer, their formations precise and threatening. Transfer of personnel complete, Tom reported from his station. The Trill ship reports they're ready to jump to FTL as soon as we create the opening. Jack nodded, his face calm despite the tension in the air. Anna, status of the modifications. Anna looked up from the weapons console. FTL drive has been reconfigured according to Mike's specifications. We can trigger the controlled overload at your command. What's the chance this actually works? Jack asked Mike, who had stayed behind to oversee the engineering aspects of their desperate plan. Mike wiped sweat from his forehead. About 50-50, Captain. We've never tried to use an FTL drive as a weapon before. The theory is sound, but we're making this up as we go, Jack finished. Good enough for me. Lisa's voice came through the communication system. She had gone to the Trill ship to help coordinate. Captain, we're in position. Skywatcher says their engines are ready for immediate jump once you create the path. Tell him to be ready, this is going to happen fast. Jack turned to his small remaining crew. Final check, escape pods prepped and programmed. Confirmed, Tom confirmed. Set to launch automatically 30 seconds before detonation. They'll head directly for the Trill ship. Jack took a deep breath. Begin the countdown, 3 minutes. As the countdown started, the Void collective ships finished getting into position. The largest ship, presumably the Exterminator's command vessel, moved to the front. They're hailing us again, Anna said. Put them through, Jack ordered. The Exterminator appeared on screen, still showing no emotion. Your hour has ended, Deathworlders. We have studied your vessel. Your shields are weakened. Your weapons, while effective, cannot defeat 22 of our ships. Surrender now and we will make your extinction painless. Jack smiled. You know, for advanced aliens, you miss something important about humans. The Exterminator tilted its head. And what is that? We're really stubborn. End transmission. Jack turned to Tom. Begin approach. The Resilience suddenly surged forward, heading directly toward the center of the collective formation. The unexpected move seemed to surprise the alien ships, which took several seconds to react. They're firing, Anna called out. The ship shuddered as multiple energy beams struck its shields. Shields at 42%, 36%, Anna counted down as hits registered. They won't last much longer, Captain. They don't need to, Jack replied. Stay on course, Tom, right into the middle of their formation. The Resilience continued its charge, taking hit after hit but not firing back. The collective ships, perhaps confused by this strategy, began to adjust their positions. 2 minutes to detonation, the computer announced calmly. On the tactical display, Jack watched as the collective ships moved to surround the Resilience, exactly as he had hoped. Their tight formation would maximize the effect of what was coming. Captain, Tom said, his voice tight with tension. The Trill ship is in position, waiting for our signal. Excellent, maintain course. Let's get as deep into their formation as possible. The collective ships continued to fire, their energy weapons gradually wearing down the Resilience's shields. Shields failing, Anna reported. Hull damage on decks 3 through 5. 1 minute to detonation, the computer announced. Jack opened a channel to the Trill ship. Prepare to move on my mark. Don't wait, don't look back, just go. We understand, Captain, came a voice translated into English. Your sacrifice will not be forgotten. Another hit rocked the ship violently. Warning alarms blared throughout the bridge. Direct hit to engineering, Mike called out. Secondary explosions reported. The FTL drive is taking damage. Jack's heart sank. Will it still work? Mike checked his readings frantically. Yes, but we've lost fine control. Once we start the overload, we won't be able to stop it or adjust the timing. 30 seconds to detonation, the computer announced. Escape pod launch sequence initiating. Jack turned to his small crew. Time to go, get to your assigned escape pods. Anna looked up from her station. Captain. That's an order, Chief Reed, Jack said firmly. Earth needs to know what's out here, they need to prepare. The bridge crew reluctantly left their stations, heading for the escape pods. Jack remained alone on the bridge, watching as the collective ships closed in. On the tactical display, he could see the Trill vessel positioned just outside the enemy formation, ready to make its escape. 20 seconds to detonation, the computer announced. Jack sent the signal to the Trill ship. On the view screen, he saw it begin to move, its crystal spheres glowing with energy as it prepared to jump to FTL. Incoming transmission from the command collective vessel, the computer reported. Jack didn't bother to respond. Let them wonder what humans were capable of. 10 seconds to detonation. The remaining escape pods launched from the Resilience, small craft heading away from the doomed ship toward the waiting Trill vessel. 5 seconds. Jack closed his eyes, thinking of Earth, of the blue oceans and green forests that had shaped his species into the survivors they were. A detonation. The Resilience's FTL drive overloaded in a controlled chain reaction, releasing all its stored energy at once. The explosion tore through space, a blinding sphere of energy that expanded outward, engulfing the surrounding collective ships. Their shields, designed to stop energy weapons and projectiles, provided no protection against the laws of physics being temporarily rewritten by the collapsing FTL field. Aboard the Trill ship, Lisa Green and the other human crew watched in awe as the Resilience became a miniature star, burning brightly for just a moment before collapsing in on itself. The shockwave rippled through the collective formation, crippling or destroying 17 of their 22 ships. Now, Skywatcher ordered in the Trill language. The crystal drive activated, and the Trill ship vanished into FTL, carrying with it the survivors of the Resilience and the story of humanity's first contact. In the debris field that had once been the center of the Void collective formation, 5 escape pods drifted. Inside one, Captain Jack Miller opened his eyes, surprised to find himself still alive. The pod systems showed the Trill ship had successfully jumped to FTL. His plan had worked. A communications light blinked on his console. The other escape pods were hailing him. Tom, Anna, Mike, and the others had survived too. This is the captain, Jack said as he opened the channel. Status report. We made it, sir, came Anna's voice. The Trill ship got away clean. Sensors show most of the collective fleet has been destroyed or disabled. Good work, everyone, Jack replied, feeling a mixture of relief and sadness as he looked out at the floating wreckage of his ship. The Trill will get our people back to Earth. They'll warn them about what's out here. And us, sir, Tom asked. We're still in hostile territory with limited supplies. Jack smiled, looking at the blue-green planet below them, the 4th planet of the Epsilon Eridani system. It looked so much like Earth. We're explorers, Tom. The mission continues. We find a way to survive until help arrives. He paused. Or we make a new home here. Either way, humanity has taken its first steps into the galaxy. There's no going back now. Miles away, one of the surviving Void Collective ships managed to stabilize its systems. The exterminator, wounded but alive, stared at the debris field that had once been the pride of its fleet. A simple response to a distress call had led to this, the most devastating defeat the Collective had suffered in millennia. Deathworlders, the exterminator hissed, the word no longer dismissive but filled with wary respect. It initiated a secure transmission to the Collective's high command. This new species, these humans, would require special attention. They were unlike any species the Collective had encountered before. They were dangerous in ways the ancient protocols had not anticipated. For the first time in the exterminator's long existence, it felt something akin to fear. 6 months later, on the blue-green planet they had named New Hope, Jack Miller stood on a ridge overlooking the settlement that had grown from their emergency landing site. 5 escape pods had become a small but thriving outpost. Using salvage technology and their own ingenuity, the survivors had built shelters, established food production, and even started exploring the alien world that was now their temporary home. Anna approached, her uniform now modified with local materials. Perimeter sensors are online, Captain. We'll have advance warning if any visitors arrive, friendly or otherwise. Jack nodded. Good work. Any word from Tom's team? They found another freshwater source about 15 kilometers west. Mike thinks we can extend our irrigation system there by next month. The survival of 17 humans on an alien world was itself a testament to their adaptability. The planet was remarkably Earth-like, another death world by galactic standards, but perfectly habitable for humans. Its native life was compatible enough that with careful testing, they had identified several local plants that could supplement their dwindling emergency rations. Captain, Anna said, her voice softer now, it's been 6 months. Do you think they made it back to Earth? Jack gazed up at the evening sky where the first stars were beginning to appear. The Trill ship was intact and they had our FTL calculations. If they followed the course we gave them, they should have reached Earth by now. And if they did, then humanity knows about the Void Collective. They're preparing, building ships, training crews. Jack turned to Anna, determination in his eyes. Earth won't be caught unprepared. A small alarm chimed on Anna's wrist device. Dinner meeting in 10 minutes. The council wants your input on the new hydroponics design. Jack smiled. Even stranded on an alien world, humans organized, planned, and built for the future. It was what they did, what they had always done. As they walked back toward the settlement, a flash of light in the sky caught Jack's attention. He stopped, staring upward. Captain, Anna asked, following his gaze. There, Jack pointed as the light appeared again, moving across the evening sky in a pattern too regular to be natural. Anna's eyes widened. That's not a meteor. No, Jack agreed, feeling his heart rate quicken. It's not. They rushed back to the settlement, calling for Tom to bring the long-range scanner. The small community gathered as Tom calibrated the device, pointing it toward the moving light. It's a ship, Tom confirmed, his voice trembling slightly with excitement. And it's broadcasting on an Earth Alliance frequency. A cheer went up from the gathered survivors. Jack felt a lump form in his throat. The Trill had kept their word. They had delivered the human crew and their warning to Earth. They're hailing us, Tom said, connecting the scanner to their makeshift communications system. The voice that came through was distorted but unmistakably human. Attention outpost on New Hope. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth Alliance warship Defiance. We have received your distress beacon and are preparing to make landfall. Stand by for coordination. Jack took the communicator. Defiance, this is Captain Jack Miller of the Resilience. We're standing by and very glad to see you. There was a pause, then Captain Chen's voice returned, emotion evident even through the static. Captain Miller, your crew made it home. The Trill kept their promise. Earth knows what happened here and what you did. The Earth Alliance sends its regards and reinforcements. Later that night, as the Defiance settled into orbit around New Hope, Jack stood with Sarah Chen on the ridge overlooking the settlement. The Defiance was just one of 20 new warships Earth had constructed in the 6 months since the Trill arrived with their warning and the surviving Resilience crew. The Trill have been instrumental, Sarah explained. Their technology, combined with our Deathworld innovations, has accelerated our fleet development by decades, and they weren't the only ones who came to help. Others, Jack asked. Sarah nodded. The news spread quickly through what the Trill call the Galactic Commons, peaceful species who have been hiding from the Collective for centuries. When they heard about what the Resilience did, many decided it was time to stop hiding. And the Void Collectives. Sarah's expression darkened. They've been quiet, regrouping, but our intelligence suggests they're preparing for something big. They've never been challenged like this before. They won't take it lightly. Jack looked up at the stars, thinking of the vastness of space and the countless worlds that orbited those distant points of light. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger community, one full of both wonders and dangers. Then we'll be ready for them, he said. All of us, humans, Trill, and whoever else wants to stand against the darkness. Sarah smiled. That's exactly what I was told you'd say. Earth Alliance Command has a proposition for you, Captain Miller. They're forming a joint fleet, multiple species united against the collective. They need someone who's faced them before to lead it. Jack raised an eyebrow. Me, I lost my ship. You saved your crew, protected the Trill, and inflicted the worst defeat the collective has experienced in their recorded history, Sarah countered. Besides, there's a new ship waiting for you. What's it called? The Resilience II, bigger, faster, and with a few special modifications courtesy of our new allies. Sarah handed him a data pad. But that's not all. You're being promoted to Admiral. The fleet needs you, Jack. Jack looked back at the settlement where his crew had survived against the odds on an alien world. They had answered a distress call and found themselves thrust into a conflict that spanned the stars. Now they were being asked to lead the fight. When do we leave? He asked. As soon as you're ready, Admiral, Sarah replied. The Void Collective is still out there and they're not the only threat. The galaxy is a dangerous place. Jack smiled. Good thing they've got some Deathworlders on their side now. In the darkness between stars, aboard the Void Collective's central command station, the High Council gathered to address the human problem. The chamber was filled with exterminators of various ranks, their black eyes focused on the holographic display at the center of the room. The analysis is complete, the chief exterminator announced. These humans represent a Class 5 Deathworld species with unprecedented adaptive capabilities. Their physical resilience, combined with their problem-solving skills and willingness to sacrifice for others, makes them unlike any species we have encountered in our dominion. They are primitive, one exterminator objected. Their technology is centuries behind ours. Was centuries behind, the chief corrected. They are learning rapidly from the Trill and others who have joined their coalition. Our simulations project they will achieve technological parity within a decade. Then we must strike now, another insisted, before they grow stronger. The chief exterminator moved to the holographic display, expanding it to show the Earth Alliance's rapidly growing fleet. We underestimated them once. We will not make that mistake again. Observe. The display shifted, showing footage from the battle at Epsilon Aerodani. They watched as the Resilience charged into the heart of the collective formation, its FTL drive overloading in a devastating explosion that crippled the fleet. They turned their faster-than-light drive into a weapon, the chief explained. No species has ever attempted such a tactic. It should have been impossible, yet they succeeded. This is what makes them dangerous. They do not think as we do. The council chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. For millennia, the Void Collective had ruled through fear and technological superiority. They had cataloged and categorized thousands of species, judging most unworthy of the stars. But these humans, these Deathworlders, had changed the equation. What do you propose? Asked the eldest member of the council. The chief exterminator's face remained impassive, but its voice carried a new tone, one that none present had heard before. We prepare, it said simply. For the first time in our history, the Void Collective faces an enemy that cannot be judged by our standard metrics. The humans are gathering allies, building ships, and spreading their influence. They call it cooperation. We have always called it weakness. The hologram shifted again, showing the rapidly expanding Earth Alliance, now including Trill vessels and ships from a dozen other species who had lived in fear of the collective. Perhaps, the chief continued, we have been wrong. A shocked murmur ran through the council chamber. The Void Collective wrong, it was unthinkable. These Deathworlders fight not just for themselves but for others. They risk extinction to protect species they have just met. It defies our understanding, yet they have accomplished more in 6 months than many civilizations do in centuries. What are you suggesting? Demanded another council member. That we negotiate with them, that we show weakness. The chief exterminator fixed its black eyes on the speaker. I am suggesting that for the first time in our history, the Void Collective faces an opponent that might actually deserve the stars. 1 year after the Battle of Epsilon Aerodani, Admiral Jack Miller stood on the bridge of the Resilience II, surveying the assembled fleet. Ships of a dozen different designs, human, Trill, and others, moved in formation, preparing for their first major offensive against a Void Collective stronghold. Earth had embraced its role in the galactic community with characteristic human determination. When faced with the knowledge that they were not alone in the universe, and that some of those sharing it wished them harm, humanity had not cowered. They had adapted, learned, and prepared.